today, and we're printing a photo with
Chris. Hi.
This is Chris. He's a photographer, a risograph novice, and most importantly, my husband and studio partner.
So I'm going to walk you guys through how to prepare a photo, how to print it with the risograph machine, and Chris will be here to ask any questions that you might be wondering while we're printing and preparing everything. Okay, so let's get started.
First, a little tutorial on how to prepare your photographs for risograph.
Okay, so we have your photos here. I guess we have 5 photos, and then we're gonna print one of these big, but first we're gonna test and see how they look. So for the Riso, at least at our studio, we have black, blue, yellow, and fluorescent pink, and those can kind of stand in for CMYK.
Will the reds tend towards a more pink color, or how does that work?
So the reds will probably be made by mixing the yellow and magenta, or we have pink, so it'll come out a little bit brighter, maybe more like coral than like a red, because we don't have red ink. So anyway, we're gonna just substitute the CMYK. So you can see we have the channels here, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Instead of using those traditional colors, we'll use Riso colors. Yeah, so first what we have to do is isolate each of these channels because we're gonna print them one at a time. So we have the cyan or the magenta, and you can kind of see how they look layered here. So basically we need to save a grayscale image because the RISOGRAPH printer only works with black, gray, and white. You don't print like full color images and just send it off. You do have to do some preparation, so that's what we're doing now. Make sure your mode is in CMYK, because if it's an RGB, you won't see these 4. So make sure you have CMYK. So first we'll do cyan, select all, copy, and paste. So always make sure you're going back to this layer when you're copying and pasting. And then the last one, black. Okay, so now you have all of your colors separated. What we want to do for our test is the top one will just do blue, yellow, and pink, and the bottom one will also do the black. So we can kind of see how it looks different.
Should we label the different colors? I presume we have to print the correct color with the correct ink.
Right, so you have to save each of these individually as JPEGs.
Okay.
You can't print like a Photoshop file.
Yeah.
So just to make it easier, I will label them blue, pink. I'm gonna put this in a folder, and then since we're doing 2 that are slightly different, I'm gonna duplicate this group. I'm gonna select all of these layers, and I'm just gonna erase the top part. We're only printing the bottom ones with these colors. And then the top one, we're only doing yellow, blue, and pink.
Okay, so there'll be no black on the top one.
Yeah, so there will be no black. If you only print these without the black, it kind of gets this washed out look. So I think it will be good if you only do 3 colors to have the black basically set it to multiply. Like the yellow will have yellow and black, if that makes sense.
I think so. So this is for the one that is getting printed without any black. You want to set the blend mode to multiply.
So because there's no black, the black part will come from all 3 colors layering on top of each other. That will be the darkest place, right? Because whenever you print with risograph ink, you'll get I have an example here, the place where the blue and this orange color overlap is darker than just the blue. Basically, we're gonna do that. Instead of black, we'll have yellow, pink, and blue will all be there, so it will make the area darker. So for these, I'm gonna duplicate the black layer 3 times, so we have 3 colors. And so we have black and yellow together. So here's yellow. We have black and pink together. That's pink. And we have black and blue together. And that's blue. So now we need to save basically our file so that the risograph can understand it. It's just gray, right? Because this is kind of all cut up. I'm gonna just make the background white. And then for our bottom one, let's start with blue. So here's our blue layer for the bottom image. And then in our second group, here's the blue for the top image. So let's just make sure we're adding the black color as well. So that's why this one looks darker than this one. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah.
So I'm gonna file, save a copy, save as a JPEG, and I'm gonna call it Riso 3 blue. So next we'll do pink. So I have the pink folder ready already. Here's pink. And in group 1, turn off blue, turn on pink. And I just make sure, okay, this is the same. Then we added the black, so it's a little darker. And then I'll just do the same exact thing, save a copy, Riso 3 and pink. Make sure it's a JPEG, and so on and so forth. So I'll just do yellow, and then the last one would be black.
Next, let's get to the printer and start with our first layers.
So this is your photo that you wanted to print.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna check everything. This is the blue layer,
Yeah.
pink, yellow, and black, only on the bottom.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so when we print with the Riso, even though it's CMYK, so usually it prints like the blue first, then pink, then yellow, then black. It's better to print the lightest color first and the darkest color last.
Okay. Would you just judge that based on the amount of color that's in the picture itself?
No, like the actual ink color.
Ah, okay.
Because if you print like the yellow on top of the blue, it's gonna kind of leave like a lighter cast over the color instead of just blending the colors together. So usually you would want the darker color to be on top, like maybe for artistic reasons you want to print a lighter color on top, that's fine. So we're gonna do yellow first. I already have it in here. So if you've done Riso before, you know you change the color by putting in the color drum here. And so every time we print a new color, we'll put in a new color drum. Okay, so it's pretty simple. We'll go to yellow and then just press print. We're printing A3, portrait, and that's all. You just press print and it will print. Do you have any questions?
That's so much easier than my printer. No, let's get, so it'll be yellow and then magenta, then blue?
Yeah, so yellow, and then instead of magenta, we're doing pink. So pink, and then blue, and then black just for the bottom part.
Yeah.
Show it to the camera.
There we go.
So you were asking earlier about the registration, like if you would ever print more than 4 colors.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't recommend it. Most people recommend printing like 2 to 4 colors maximum, because every time you print a color, you run the risk of it being not perfectly aligned. You can like kind of move it around on the printer if you see that it's slightly off, but yeah, basically the less colors, the easier it is to make sure they all line up nicely.
Wait, so when you say you moved around on the printer, like the actual paper, or was there like a button?
No, there's a button, there's like print position, and then you can use these arrow keys to move it like 0.5 millimeter at a time around.
That's crazy.
So next we'll print the pink one.
Yeah.
And since it's yellow, it's okay, but after this one we should probably let it dry a little bit, otherwise you're gonna get roller marks, which is like, because the ink is wet, when it goes through, it's like leaving a smudge, kind of.
And it's okay with the yellow just because it's lighter? Or?
Yeah, the yellow, it's usually lighter, so it's fine. You can also avoid it by like not printing anything in like kind of like the top middle part of the page.
Is that where the smudges typically happen?
No, that's where the paper gets pushed down and rolled into the printer. So if you can avoid this part, then it's usually better. Or at least like print something with not a lot of ink. there. Like you wouldn't want it to be like fully saturated. Okay, so let's print the pink.
Yeah, wow, looking good. Okay, interesting. You can see how some of the colors are already starting to come through. Like just the magenta on the flower looks more like, I guess, more pinky. Registration looks pretty good to my eye.
Basically, if you just don't move the paper tray, if you keep that like in the same place and you make sure your paper is like really nicely stacked, then it will be pretty well registered. The problem is if you have a lot of paper and then like every time it goes through, it's kind of like
Wiggling
getting jumbled around. It's not perfectly straight.
Yeah.
So
how much give is there in the paper tray? You say not to move it around. Is it like loose?
It can, if you like push on it or something, it can move.
Okay.
But yeah, usually like it won't be perfectly registered no matter how hard you try. I mean, usually that's kind of difficult. But that's kind of part of the charm of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have images where if that happens, you're not like, it doesn't ruin it for you, you know. Okay, we're back. So we waited around 20-30 minutes for them to dry. You could wait longer if you're really worried. These ones, there's some ink in that area where the roller is, but it's not a ton. So I think it should be okay.
That like central part that you're worried about.
And this is also just a test. So like you might want to be more careful if you're making like a poster or something like that. But for just like a print test, it's usually fine. So let's go ahead and put the blue in.
Okay, so we've done the yellow, we've done the hot pink, now the blue.
Yeah, fluorescent pink.
Fluorescent pink?
Yeah.
I believe hot is the technical term. Okay, so just the blue, and then do we wait like another 20 minutes or so and then do the black?
Yeah, I think it'll be good because the blue, as you can see like up here, there's like a lot of ink. But since we're not printing the black up here, you can actually put like a Post-it note on your paper and that will kind of like prevent roller marks.
Ooh. There you go, looking
so you
rad.
can see how it's coming out.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can see like the registration does get off a little bit here. If we're printing like a poster, we would maybe try to like move the master around a little bit if we were worried about it. So we didn't print black yet on that. That's why this one is like darker.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
I see, yeah, so there's a difference between these two.
Yeah. So this is what it would look like if we hadn't added that like black to each layer to make it like more contrasty.
Also, yeah, because this one has like such fine detail in it as well. I'm curious to see how that looks.
Yeah, some of the ones with like smaller details, it might come out better if you print it larger because when it's like really tiny like this,
Sure.
If it is slightly off, it's going to be more obvious. Like another thing you can do if you, for example, like wanted to make your photo look more graphic, like for this field of flowers, make these areas with the flower, like the non-green parts, like way darker. Also maybe make it bigger, like use threshold or some other like manipulation in Photoshop. It looks more like spot color in the field versus like a photo. You're kind of doing some graphic design kind of thing too.
Well, let's give that a try next time because I'd like to see how that comes out.
So let's try to put the Post-it note on here so that it just will roll on the paper, the Post-it note area.
Nice, looking super cool though.
Do you prefer with the black or without the black?
Oh, you're asking me such hard questions in front of people. I think I might prefer without the black. It's because it's like an unusual way of printing to sort of accentuate the unusualness of it. Like not having black makes it seem like, it just makes me think of like sort of like old like newsprint advertising or something like that.
Yeah.
Where you don't really get like punchy blacks in those situations. It like looks a little bit more a little flatter like this.
I like without the black. I think for like images like this, like the flowers, it kind of helps to have the black because it defines where the flowers are more because it's such a busy image. Maybe harder to read if you don't have like a black layer. Yeah.
But it's cool to do a test where you like try different images like this to see what does work. Because I agree. I feel like these ones come out a little bit, even down here, come out like they work a little bit better.
Sometimes you don't know until you test it out. So if you do have the ability to, if you're gonna make maybe a poster or something, it could be worth printing like a group of small images, or maybe making like little postcards first or something like that, to see what image works best with the Riso, and then taking one of those and like making a bigger image.
Yeah. Well, shall we make a bigger image with one of these then?
Yeah, let's, what one do you want to do out of these ones?
Well, after having a look now, probably this one here with the hands. I think it's got like the nice, like it has a nice amount of color, and it's like nice and clear, easier to see.
The two at the bottom kind of turned out the best. Yeah, do you like how it turned out?
Yeah, looks cool. I like it.
Now, Chris is going to try to replicate the process I taught you guys in the beginning of this video and see if he can remember all of the steps. If you have a photograph of your own to prepare, you can follow along with us.
Ready? So you decided you want to print just, we like the yellow, pink, and blue by itself the best, but with more contrast, but no black.
Yes.
So we're going to just do 3 colors.
Yeah. So let's take the file and drop it into Photoshop.
Yep.
Okay, so the first thing that we had to do was make sure that we were working in CMYK. So not RGB, CMYK. So if I go to the channels now, I have my CMYK here. So let's go to Cyan, Command All and copy. Go back to layers, create a new layer and paste, and we're good to go.
So then make sure when you go back to channels, you want to click on this one again, right?
I see.
You know, because if you click on this one, it's only showing, you're going to get all the channels for this image, not for the color one.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure every time you go to channels, you are selecting your colored image.
Yeah. Okay, so this time I'm on magenta, all and copy, go back to layers, make another layer and paste. Just gonna call that M.
You want to make sure this one's not visible. Yeah.
There you go.
Because it will show you whatever one's visible.
Okay, so I'm on my base layer, go to channels, I've selected the yellow one. Select all and copy layers, make myself one more layer here. I'll turn that layer off, go back to the base layer, channels, and for the last one, let's do black, and copy. Okay, and then this one is black.
Yeah.
So from this point on, what would I do next then?
You have CMYK, but we're only printing CMY, right?
Yes, yeah.
So this was like our, before we added the black. This is the one with, we added contrast. This is without.
Like there was an overlay of color that darkened when it was overlaid, right?
Yeah, so we don't have black. So instead of having a separate layer for black, we'll just add the K to all of these layers.
Okay.
So we have 3 layers, so we need 3 Ks, basically.
Okay.
So just duplicate this layer. So there's 3 of them. And then you, put one above each color. Okay, so let's do blue, since C is first, let's just do the blue one first. So we want to have CC and the first K.
Yeah.
And then K, so right now you can only see K.
Yes.
We need to change the blending mode, right?
And that was to multiply, if I remember.
Yeah,
right.
but not both of them, just the K.
There you go.
Okay, so you can put that in a folder and call that blue.
In the French tradition. In the French tradition.
Okay.
Okay,
And
cool.
then next is the pink one, right?
Yeah.
So again, we need a, multiply.
Okay.
Magenta or pink. That doesn't matter. As long as you know what it means when you're
Sure.
printing. Usually Riso, if you print it at a studio though, they will ask you to label your files with the name of the ink color.
Okay.
Because when they're going to print it for you, they're just going to look at that. So if you put magenta, they might be confused.
Yeah, especially if you don't use the technical terminology, which is, of course,
Fluorescent pink.
hot pink.
Fluorescent pink.
Okay. Okay, so then for the last one,
Yeah.
we go back to
Multiply. Yeah.
Put these into that together, and this will be yellow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now you need to save them as JPEGs, right? So just make sure only one folder, one color is visible at a time, and then you just save as, name accordingly.
Save a copy. Yeah, let's put it over here, and this will be for yellow.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so that's that part done.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, not too tricky.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me get these files across to you, and we can print the big picture.
After preparing our 3-layer print, this is how they came out. Now, let's wrap this video up with a few final thoughts. Okay, so we finished printing our experimental prints. You have some interesting things to say about what you kind of got out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was super cool to see how just how risography works with photos. It definitely makes for like an old-timey kind of advertising, like old advertising feel, which I really like. Knowing now how it works, the thing I would do next time is basically I'd probably tweak the colors in Photoshop first.
Yeah.
I'd like make a simulacrum or a mock-up that okay, this is how it's going to look once I've printed it. Tweak the colors there a little bit, and then I have a bit more control over how the final image will be.
Yeah.
So yeah, just being able to do that would be really nice. But I mean, yeah, the way it came out looks super cool, and I definitely, like I say, I think you're in for trouble because I kind of want to do more stuff now.
Yeah, actually, there are a few applications and a website that you can kind of plug in your layers to and see what it looks like with different ink colors. So I'll leave those in the description. On Patreon, I might post a little something if you follow me there on how to do that yourself, because you could even move your layers around and kind of see if you get a little misregistration what it would look like, because definitely there are certain photos, as we kind of found out in the testing phase, that work better for risography than others.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say is the pictures that I thought would work the best were maybe some of the ones that didn't work quite as well.
Yeah.
Like when there's lots of little detail and stuff like that, it's kind of, it looks okay, but it's when there's a bit more of a clear, broader image that it really, the format really works well.
I mean, I'm used to using it with illustrations, and with that we're usually printing in spot color, so it's very designed to be this area of color is this color and this is where they overlap. If you can curate your photos to kind of see what works best with that style of printing, I think it can turn out a little bit better too.
Yeah, I have plenty of that kind of photo, and so next time I'll look for that kind of photo and arrange those.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with that said, I guess that ends our little experiment today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them below. I will again be sharing more about this stuff on Patreon if you want a little extra content. But besides that, I'll see you next month for another video. So yeah, bye.
Good job.
Good job.